This is the Making Noise podcast.
Like the whole entrepreneurial spirit and how you were like, I want, let me see how they're distributing this. Oh, they haven't figured out a model yet. Let me try to figure one out. Like that's can you talk a little bit about that? Because I hear you saying that and like the what do I say? Like the self-conscious side of me is like thinking like, I don't know how to do that. I don't think I can do that. Everyone else does it so well, like how do you approach those sort of things?
Well, the things I've learned over the years, so it's interesting because I've been teaching arts entrepreneurship at Kalamazoo College for like 5 years now. And I kind of proposed and launched the class. And ironically, like there's a period in my life where I was just, 5 jobs at a time, all within varying degrees of music, right? I'm full-time. I've been full-time for like 10 years now with the Gilmore Keyboard Festival, and I love it. Mm-hmm. I also teach part-time and I still freelance, right? So there's still parts of my life that have that entrepreneurial spirit. But where was I going with that? I lost it for a second. The label, like, just creating things. And the way I've seen people do this, they don't really always know what they're doing, I think being in higher education, the one thing that you get out of a degree is you learn to learn. And if you don't learn how to learn, then what are you doing, right? But it's just that asking the right questions, talking to the right people to figure out what you need to do. And it's not always clear, like especially in the music world, there's not always the linear path of how to do something, which is both comforting but also scary, right? Because there's not always great examples out there or examples that you can figure out. So the label is just, it's been seen like, well, at first I thought I'd really like to do a composer collective where you find like friends that have similar aesthetics, kind of like the Bang on the Can trio, but I'm like, there's just not like my point of the life. My lights just went on down here. It's just not a point of my life where I can do that with, working full time, raising kids, stuff like that. And so I might be interrupted by a child, by the way. Just warning you.
No worries. This is the Making Noise podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like
making noise. We did this we do around here. So this idea of converting what would be a collective into like a label that actually does something and provides a service was really encouraging to me, and somewhat self-conscious because like this album obviously has a piece of my own music on it, so I'd want to promote it for my own composer life. But then I really like the album, so I believe in the product itself and the group that did it. I really like their work. And I thought a label would be a great service to people like me or people working in the new music world that didn't have an easy means to distribute something because of just basic costs or time or expertise. And so like, one thing we learned pretty quickly is that there's not money in, in streaming royalties, which we all knew, or just making labels in general. And so you kind of I had to think, well, what can I do to streamline the cost of that too, just to make it something that could be small growth over time to where we consciously, don't spend a lot of money, but try to build it slowly with the funds that we have. Mm-hmm. And so it's collaborative in the sense that even though it's just me right now, I'm collaborating with the artists or the people that are producing the work and working together to promote it. I can provide certain things with what I've learned and what I know and the few things that I've already paid for that are covering themselves. So yeah, 1 second.
Sure, yeah.
Hey, babes. I need that TV off, please. I don't know if that's really loud, if you can hear that, but...
It's not too loud. It's in the background, but it's not. It's family life. It's
last night we had a board meeting, and my 2-year-old just sitting in my lap with a sucker that he found somewhere, just watching the board meeting with me.
That's one of the things about these Zoom meetings I think are fantastic. Is like the professional barrier is kind of broken, And
yeah, I love it though. I mean,
exactly.
To me, it's encouraging because I felt like the old mentality is like leave your kids and family out of it unless it's like an event that you're bringing your wife or partner to, right? And now I'm just like, we all have different home situations, and it's all mixed in, and
Yeah.
it's messy, and it's like, yeah, thanks.
It's so funny. I mean, there's like I don't know if you've seen, there's bloopers out there of news anchors with like their pets interrupting or something, or like there's some talking head interview with a politician, and then like you see their
Yeah.
child run by in the background. Like,
Yeah, it's funny. So I don't know if I answered your question, but it was kind of born from this. Yeah, and I'm still toying with the collective idea, like who wants to do this with me, who wants to put some time in. I don't have a team. Some of the Required did a lot of work already for their album, and we've worked together to promote it gently, from what we can. It's not like a big operation yet, so the social media reach and all that stuff started like barely a month and a half before the album was released, so it's all pretty fresh still.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the Odd Red Collective? Is that what?
Odd Pop
Odd
Records.
Pop.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Pop Records.
Okay. It's in red font, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably where the red is coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that on the bottom of your email, like a little tag or whatever you call that. And I was curious. I was like, oh, what is this? And I looked it up real quick, and I found the Facebook page and everything.
Yeah, so we like bare bones. Like I haven't made a website for it because of money. I put the money elsewhere, and then just kind of slow building. What can I build to make it work? And right now the problem is releasing more albums, seeking them out. And so I have one more in the line, which is exciting. And so I'll be working with Megan Enan. We haven't made it official yet, but like. Working together, getting this contracts put together for her One Voice project. Not One Voice, that's somebody else's project. Her Wordless Lullabies project. So
okay.
And she's got it all recorded, but hasn't put together, all the contracts for the composers and the distribution and whatnot. So that's what we're working on right now.
Ah, that's beautiful. I love how there's like this one thing that you're like, you know what, let me put a distribution together for this album, and then now it's turning into something bigger where like now Megan is there, and then everyone who's affiliated with Megan is in there. And
and that's the only way it's going to work is if I have multiple projects constantly online, just to pay for itself, right? And so it's been interesting too, because now I find myself like listening to more artists and thinking, hey, that would be really cool. I would really enjoy putting something together with them. So I've reached out to a wide variety of people just to put little seeds in their mind about, if you're looking at doing an album, let me know. I will help.
Right.
Here's what I can help with, which isn't a whole lot, but.
So you're starting to have like is that a producer hat, would you say?
I guess so. Yeah. It's more just kind of the back end, royalty licensing stuff. So yeah.
It's interesting to hear all this, and that's why I was so curious about it, because like where we are, like with COVID and everything like that, and that's exactly why I started this podcast, and it was under the same sort of spirit for you with the label.
Yeah,
I've never started a podcast before. I didn't really know what I was doing. I researched a little bit. And I had this microphone already, and and so it's just been slowly, like, I first put it on YouTube. I'm hosting it on my website. I just put it on Apple Podcasts, so it's like a slow sort of unfolding, kind of like what you're saying, And I think what I'm learning from this process, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this, is when it comes to doing something new, like you kind of just have to do it, but there has to be also some level of calculations to like soften the blow, I guess, like.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like some people, when I teach entrepreneurship, a lot of people get caught up in I need all these things to make it happen. But I'm like, no, you don't. You just need kind of an impetus, something to trigger the start, and then you can build from there. For the label, it was one album, right? That was already mostly paid for and recorded and sounding great, right? the group did so much work. Like, so that was the impetus.
Mm-hmm.
For other things, it's just like some of my students, they just need like one song to hop on a platform and release it, and then you grow from there and you go, okay, it's here. How do I get it there? How do I make sure if it, I always say to my students, if something's going to blow up, you want to make sure you have the basic level of royalty collection in place.
Mm-hmm.
So just making sure that you're on top of what you can there and doing essentially what your business side will allow. I always say, don't spend money unless you have some money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
or it's just a little bit, right? So it's not like we're starting, big, enterprises here. It's
right.
The slow growth model, a little bit at a time, tick it off, set up some systems, and keep moving forward.